Imagine spending like 6 months designing your absolute dream website. You've tweaked the fonts 100 times.
Agonized over the layout, right?
Oh, totally. The color palette is flawless.
Hmm.
It is your digital masterpiece, whether
Yeah.
that's a stunning visual portfolio, a blog, or a slick landing page for your business.
Mm.
And then,
You realize you actually need to sell something.
yes, and for most people, this triggers sheer icy panic. You just assume you have to tear the whole thing down, scrap your perfect design, and start completely from scratch on an e-commerce platform just to build a store.
Which is a really common fear. It's the digital equivalent of, I don't know, realizing your beautifully landscaped backyard needs a giant plumbing trench dug right through the middle of it.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, the instinct is just to assume that commerce and content are these two entirely separate ecosystems, right? And merging them requires a bulldozer. But the truth is, e-commerce doesn't actually have to dictate your entire web architecture anymore.
It's exactly put the bulldozer away. Because today's deep dive is all about saving your masterpiece. We're unpacking exactly how to add Shopify to an existing website.
Right.
Our mission today is to explore the proven ways to turn absolutely any site into a storefront for you, figure out the true operational costs, and unpack the actual tech that makes it possible, all without destroying your hard work.
And the landscape we're looking at today is incredibly diverse. I mean, we're talking about solutions that scale all the way from a simple $5 a month button that you just drop onto a page, right up to incredibly complex headless commerce architectures.
Okay, so let's establish a working analogy for this deep dive. Think of your current website as your dream house.
Okay.
Instead of demolishing that house to build this massive, sterile retail superstore, we're really just talking about building a highly efficient custom extension onto your digital house.
I love that. That's the perfect way to frame it. And to build that digital extension, we really have to start with the most accessible, fastest blueprint available.
The ground floor.
Exactly. It's an approach that completely shatters the myth that adding e-commerce requires, complex back-end coding or spinning up new databases.
Right, so let's get into it. The entry-level tier sits at just $5 a month. It's called the starter plan, and it gives you access to a buy button. But I gotta say, what blew my mind isn't the price.
It's the mechanics.
Yes. It's how this actually works. It just generates this little JavaScript embed code, you paste it into your site, and it renders a fully customizable product card and an add to cart button.
And the magic there is really in how that JavaScript interacts with your user's browser. It creates this slide-out cart that actually persists across different pages on your site.
Okay, wait, how does it do that without a database?
It uses a web technology called local storage. Think of local storage as like a digital sticky note that the browser just keeps in its memory.
Oh, okay.
So if a customer is reading a blog post on one page, they add a t-shirt to their cart, and then they navigate over to your About page. That cart follows them. The browser is reading that sticky note.
That's super clever.
Yeah. They can browse entirely different URLs on your domain and check out just once.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Is it basically like embedding a YouTube video, but instead of playing a clip of a cat, it magically handles money, taxes, and inventory?
Mechanically speaking, yes, actually. The integration method is incredibly similar. You are taking a complex piece of functionality that's hosted somewhere else and just creating a window to it on your own page.
Right.
And here is why that really matters. Because that checkout happens on Shopify's servers, they handle the terrifying legal and security nightmare of protecting credit card data.
Oh, man, yeah. The liability.
Exactly. You might hear the term PCI compliance thrown around. It essentially means the strict security standards required to handle payment info. By using this embedded checkout, you are completely outsourcing that risk.
Which is huge for peace of mind.
Totally. You can accept over 100 payment methods, Shop Pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, without a single credit card number ever touching your own servers.
And this works on practically any platform, right? Like WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Webflow, even Notion, I think, if you use a wrapper tool.
Yep, anywhere you can drop custom HTML.
But I have to push back here for a second. If my website's design is super unique, let's say I have this moody, dark mode aesthetic with custom typography, doesn't an embedded widget look totally out of place, like a badly designed bumper sticker slapped onto a Ferrari?
I mean, that is exactly what you would expect, right? But what's fascinating here is how the abstraction of that complex back-end infrastructure is handled on the front end.
Okay, how so?
Well, yes, the fraud protection, the SSL certificates, the payment routing, all of that is hidden away. But the visual component itself is highly responsive. It's actually designed to inherit your site's CSS.
Oh, wait, really? So it acts like a chameleon.
Exactly. Or, you can customize it directly within the Buy button builder. You can match the exact hex codes of your brand colors, match the font families, and adjust the layout.
So it adapts to your aesthetic without you needing to write extra styling code.
Right. It doesn't look like a clunky iframe from 2005. It feels completely native to your site.
So if you're a blogger, or you have a portfolio site, or you're an indie creator, this $5 plan is kind of the ultimate quick extension. You get unlimited products, and you can literally spin it up in under 10 minutes.
It's incredibly fast.
But let's say your blog explodes. Suddenly, you're not just selling one t-shirt. You have a massive catalog, you're hiring a team, and that little embedded widget starts feeling really clunky.
Yeah, that's the tipping point.
What happens when developers and larger design agencies enter the chat? Because when you need absolute pixel-perfect control over every single micro-interaction, a visual builder just isn't going to cut it.
You're exactly right. When you reach that point, you are forced to move from the visual layer down to the structural code layer. You can't just drop in a widget anymore. You need the raw data to build your own custom interfaces.
And this is where we shift into the realm of the storefront API and what the industry calls headless commerce.
Yes.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because headless commerce sounds like a spooky tech buzzword. What are we actually talking about here? Are we basically decapitating the store?
In a way, yes. Think of a traditional e-commerce website as a single organism.
Yeah.
The head is the front-end user interface. It's the website your customer actually sees, the buttons they click, the images they swipe through. The body is the back-end handling the inventory, the payment processing, and, the complex order management.
So going headless means?
It means you are completely decoupling the head from the body. Shopify stays in the background, acting purely as the invisible engine, while your developer builds the front end entirely from scratch using modern frameworks like React, Vue, or Svelte.
I'm struggling to see the ROI here, though. If I'm a business owner, why am I shelling out 10 grand for a custom React front end when I can literally buy a gorgeous, ready-to-use Shopify theme for like $300?
It's a very fair question. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, decoupling the front and back ends is fundamentally about unlocking maximum performance and bespoke functionality.
Like what, exactly?
Well, standard themes, no matter how well coded they are, have structural limitations. They might struggle with real-time, custom dynamic filtering on massive catalogs, or deeply personalized product recommendations driven by a company's proprietary data models.
Right.
But honestly, the biggest factor is often server-side rendering, or SSR.
Okay, unpack server-side rendering for me. Why does that matter to a store owner?
Because search engines like Google prefer to read fully baked HTML pages. When a site uses heavy JavaScript to load products on the fly like a standard embedded widget does, the search engine bot might just see a blank space.
Oh, wow. So you lose all that SEO juice.
Exactly. Server-side rendering means your custom front-end server builds the complete web page with all the product data perfectly formatted before sending it to the user's browser.
So it's instantly readable by Google.
Yes, and it is blazing fast. It's incredibly powerful for advanced SEO. When you use the storefront API to go headless, you completely bypass traditional theme limitations and gain total control over that rendering process.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And to actually get that data from Shopify to your custom front end, you use the storefront API, which relies on something called GraphQL.
That's right.
Now, standard APIs can be pretty clunky, but I read that GraphQL is known for being hyper-efficient because there's no overfetching.
Yes, the best way to understand the difference is to think about ordering food.
Okay, I'm listening.
Standard data fetching like a REST API is like ordering a combo meal. You ask the server for a burger, but the API forces you to take the fries and the drink too, whether you want them or not.
Because it just sends a fixed package of data.
Right. It sends you a massive payload of data, which slows down your site.
Ah, so GraphQL is like a highly specific drive-through where you just ask for the burger and they hand you only the burger.
Precisely. There is zero wasted data. If you only need the product title and the price to display in a minimalist grid, you ask for exactly that.
You aren't forcing the server to also send you the product dimensions, the shipping weight, and 15 high-res images.
Exactly. It's incredibly lean. And Shopify gives this API a very generous rate limit of 100 requests per second, which means it can handle massive traffic spikes without crashing.
But wait, let me put my security hat on for a second. If I'm building this custom front end and fetching data using an API key, aren't I exposing my store's sensitive backend data to the public internet? Like if someone views my website source code, they can just see the token.
That is a very common concern, but the security model here is actually quite elegant. The API uses what are called public access tokens.
Public. That sounds bad.
I know, but these tokens are intentionally designed to be safe to expose in client-side code. Yes, anyone can see the token, but it operates in a strict sandbox,
Okay, meaning what?
meaning that token only grants read access to your published products and write access to shopping carts.
So a malicious actor couldn't use that token to, say, change a product price to 0 or view another customer's home address.
Exactly. It is cryptographically restricted to basic shopping activities. It's completely locked down from your administrative data.
Well, it's smart. And for developers who maybe don't want to build a full custom API integration from scratch, but still need more control than the visual buy button, there's a middle ground, right? Using the buy button JS library.
Yeah, that's a really popular option.
It seems perfect for developers building static sites, using tools like Hugo, Astro, or Jekyll. Since those tools are all about pre-building ultra-fast web pages, you can just configure the JavaScript with your product IDs and inject the cart functionality without having to build a whole GraphQL architecture.
It's a fantastic bridge for modern web development. But, understanding these extreme ends of the tech spectrum, from a simple $5 visual button all the way up to complex headless GraphQL APIs, that really brings us to the most crucial reality check of this entire deep dive.
The reality check being, how do you actually choose?
Oh.
Because you're right, having all these options is great, but it can also induce serious decision paralysis for a business owner.
The answer, surprisingly, isn't really about technology at all. The technology is just the vehicle. The actual decision is strictly about cold, hard math and understanding hidden operational costs.
So let's look at the math, because this is where the rubber meets the road. If you run the numbers, there's a fascinating mathematical crossover point. Let's call it the $1,600 rule.
Okay.
We mentioned the starter plan is only $5 a month. Dirt cheap to get started, but it charges a transaction fee of 5% plus 30 cents per sale. Now contrast that with the basic plan, which jumps up to $39 a month. But the transaction fee drops significantly to 2.9% plus 30 cents.
And this is where the unit economics become critical for any business owner. Assuming an average order value of $50, there is an exact mathematical crossover point where paying a higher monthly subscription actually becomes cheaper than paying higher per transaction penalties.
And that magic number is roughly $1,600 a month in revenue. If you're listening to this and your site is bringing in $1,000 a month, stick with the $5 plan. You're safe.
Completely safe.
But the moment you hit $1,600, you're actively losing money if you don't upgrade. In fact, if your site is doing $10,000 a month in revenue, staying on that basic $39 plan actually saves you $176 every single month compared to the starter plan.
It's a classic scaling trap. Business owners look at the fixed monthly cost and try to keep it low, while ignoring the variable transaction costs that are secretly eating their margins.
Totally.
But transaction fees aren't the only hidden cost here. There are significant operational and marketing trade-offs when you just embed e-commerce into an existing site, rather than fully integrating it.
The transaction fees honestly feel like a penalty for being small. It's like renting a fully furnished apartment versus buying an unfurnished house.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
The rent is cheap and easy. On day one, you just walk in and sit on the couch. But if you stay there long enough, the convenience fees and the premium rent just eat all your potential profit.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it. And, to carry that analogy further, eventually you might want to remodel the kitchen, but your landlord won't let you. That's what we see with the hidden trade-offs of embedding. We touched on SEO earlier, but it's really worth repeating. There is no native product SEO with the basic buy button.
None at all.
Basically none. Because those products load dynamically via JavaScript, search engines don't index them as standalone rankable product pages. If organic search ranking for your individual products is vital to your business, the basic embed will actively hold you back.
Oh, wow. So Google literally just sees a blank space where the product should be, unless you're using the complex storefront API with server-side rendering.
Yeah.
That is a massive trade-off.
It is. And another major hidden cost is the split admin nightmare.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Imagine it's a Tuesday morning, you're using WordPress for your blog, but you have Shopify buttons embedded.
Oh.
You are now managing two entirely separate platforms.
Doing double the work.
Exactly. You're logging into WordPress to update a typo on your homepage, and then you have to open a new tab and log into Shopify to manage your inventory, print shipping labels, and check your payouts.
Right. And you also have the checkout redirect issue. Customers are browsing your beautifully designed custom domain. They click checkout, and boom, they are booted over to a Shopify-hosted URL to pay.
It's a jarring context switch for the buyer.
Yeah, it breaks the illusion. Plus, on that $5 starter plan, you don't even get access to discount codes. If running a Black Friday promotion or giving a 10% off code to your newsletter subscribers is a core part of your strategy, you are blocked right out of the gate.
Which raises an important question for anyone building a business. At what point does that split admin workflow, the lack of SEO, and the checkout friction become too much operational overhead?
When does the duct tape stop holding it all together?
Exactly.
Which brings us to the final option, full migration. The point where you actually do bring in the bulldozer, tear down the old house, and build a dedicated retail store on Shopify's foundation.
Precisely. Moving your entire site over makes sense when e-commerce transitions from being a side hustle or a neat addition to your brand to becoming the absolute primary purpose of your business.
All right, your store first, content second.
Yes, that's when you need full SEO control natively and when you need access to Shopify's massive ecosystem of over 13,000 apps for things like loyalty programs, advanced email marketing, and wholesale portals.
But the beauty of what we've learned today is that you don't have to start with the bulldozer. These tools are explicitly designed to scale with you.
Completely.
You start with a $5 button to test the waters, see if your audience actually wants to buy from you, and then you let the data specifically crossing that $1,600 a month threshold dictate when it's time to either upgrade your plan, hire a developer to build a custom headless app, or migrate entirely.
Exactly. It completely de-risks the entry into e-commerce. You validate the market demand using your existing audience on your existing site with almost zero upfront capital.
So let's recap this journey for everyone listening. The biggest takeaway here is that you do not need to rebuild to start selling.
No, you don't.
Whether you use a $5 a month buy button that takes literally 10 minutes to set up, or you scale all the way up to a headless GraphQL API to build a blazing fast custom web app, or you eventually decide to migrate your whole operation, there is a tailored architectural choice for exactly the stage your business is in right now.
The technical flexibility is remarkable. It really is. But if we step back and look at the broader implications of these tools, it points to a fascinating shift in how the internet itself operates.
Oh, like what?
Think about this. If headless APIs and simple embeddable code snippets mean that secure, robust e-commerce functionality can be injected seamlessly into literally any digital space, does the traditional concept of an online store destination even matter anymore?
Whoa, what do you mean by that?
Well, historically, we think of an online store like a physical store, right? You have to
Ah.
travel to a specific domain, like visiting a mall, to buy something.
Right, it's a destination.
But what happens to the internet when every single piece of digital content, from an independent blog post you're reading to a virtual reality environment to an interactive video game you're playing, becomes a native, fully functioning point of sale?
Oh my God.
We are moving toward a web where the store comes to the consumer, perfectly integrated into whatever they are already doing, rather than forcing the consumer to leave and go to the store.
That is wild to think about.
Yeah.
The whole internet just becomes one giant decentralized checkout counter. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. I want you to look at your own digital spaces today, your blogs, your portfolios, your landing pages, and think about how you might monetize them. Because remember, you don't have to demolish the house to build the extension. You just need the right blueprint.